For a lot of legendary ninjas in the Naruto world who did not appear in the series, we can still assume their existence, and one of them was the parent of Tsunade Senju, who was the child of the first Hokage. And this is the topic I want to talk about today. But before we talk about it, I want to ask you guys to make sure to like the video and subscribe if you enjoy. Have a great day. Now let's jump into it. There have been a lot of mysteries behind Hashirama Senju, and I've made videos on them, specifically about his death and his off-screen battle against Kakazu. And if you haven't already, I recommend you check it out. We know a lot of things about the personal life of Hashirama Senju, and we also know almost every family member of Hashirama, his brothers, his wife, and even his father. The only unknown people to us from his family are his mother and child, but his mother is the topic of another video. Today, we're going to talk about his child. We don't know the gender of his child, but because of the fact that his grandson got the surname of Senju, I assume Hashirama's child was male. So, who was Tsunade's father? Well, I've always wanted to know more about the three legendary Sanins in general. The original manga doesn't really state anything about the parents of the Sanins, with the exception of Orochimaru, whose parents were confirmed to be dead. However, this statement is still not enough. There are still a lot of mysteries behind Orochimaru's parents, and Jiraiya's novel is a very good source for that. It gives us very good information about the parents of Jiraiya and Orochimaru. However, that's not the topic of today's video. We're going to do a separate video about the parents of Jiraiya and Orochimaru, so stay tuned for that. Unlike Orochimaru, Tsunade was not an orphan, and she indeed had parents, because we know that Nawaki was quite a bit younger than Tsunade. So that means both of her parents would have been around to see Tsunade's growing up. You could say that Hashirama's son was not a ninja and decided to live like a normal person, but I don't think that's the case here. I mean, before the 4th Great Ninja World War, it was a really dark time for the ninja world. The 5 great villages were constantly at war with each other. Many people were dying, and they needed help from every possible source, which included kids as well. This is the reason why Kakashi, Obito, Ren, Itachi, Shisui, Hashirama, and other ninjas had to fight as kids in the wars. Also, according to Nagato, Hidden Leaf was the village that started the 2nd Great Ninja World War, which means it was not really a great time for the Hidden Leaf. After the First Shinobi World War, Hidden Leaf suffered a tremendous loss in its fighting force. According to the first Naruto databook, Madara left the village shortly after its formation. Tobirama and Hashirama died in the First Shinobi World War. The village was without its 3 strongest fighters, and after the First Shinobi World War, it needed help in every way possible. And I don't think the village would let the son of Hashirama and Mito, the person who was combining Senju and Uzumaki clan's chakra, abandon being a ninja. When you think about it, he had crazy potential. In truth, we have already seen someone like that, and that was Nagato Uzumaki. Many of you probably already knew that Nagato was an Uzumaki clan member, but I don't think that most of you knew that he was a member of the Senju clan as well. The mixture of both Uzumaki and Senju clan chakras enabled him to use Rinnegan to its fullest potential. Because of this mixture, Nagato had a crazy amount of chakra. He was able to fight the whole Hidden Leaf village, then Sage Mode Naruto, followed by 8-tailed Kurama, and after that, he still had enough chakra to revive the whole village he had previously defeated. And I think Hashirama-san would be the same case. I think he would be in a different league in terms of chakra and physical strength compared to his peers. He would have had a very high potential to inherit Wood Kekkei Genkai from his father, since we know that Kekkei Genkais are usually passed down through generations. His body would also be strong, and comparable to that power, since he had a mixture of Senju and Uzumaki clans, 2 clans that probably have the strongest physical bodies outside the Atsutsuki clan. Since both of his parents were alive for a really long time, I think he would have been trained by them. I assume that sometimes he was even trained by Tobirama and Madara too, since I'm sure both of them realized how much potential he really had, and how Hiruzen was trained by both Hashirama and Tobirama, but in this case Hashirama's son was taught by Madara. I think it's not far-fetched to think that Tobirama could teach his nephew some of his signature abilities, like Flying Thunder God, Shadow Clone, and other forbidden techniques. I also think that he knew forbidden techniques of the Uzumaki clan, like adamantine attacking chains, healing bites, and other sealing techniques, like the Reaper Death Seal, 8 trigram sealing style, and Tori Seal. Based on all of these, we can see that he had extremely great potential, and it's such a shame that we never saw him at any point in the series. Because of the fact that Kushina was the Jinchuriki of Ninetales, Naruto had inherited whiskers before becoming Jinchuriki by himself, and I assumed that Mito-san also had the same, since his mother was also the Jinchuriki of Ninetales. I believe he would be close friends with Hiruzen Sarutobi, because I assumed they were the same age, or perhaps Hashirama's son was a little older, because we know how Hiruzen had become sensei before becoming Hokage, and he became Hokage at the age of 24. Because there's an 18-year gap between Hiruzen and his students, and the Sannin became Genin at the age of 6. That means Hashirama's son was 18 years old when he became a father, and I think it is a very reasonable age during the warring era to become a parent. In any case, I'm pretty sure that they both knew about each other. One of them was probably the biggest prodigy of his generation, and the second one was the son of the god of shinobi. I'm pretty sure that Hiruzen would have had mad respect for him because his uncle and father were his teachers, and according to the first Naruto data book, both of them sacrificed themselves for the village. It's such a shame that we never got to see the generation of Hiruzen Sarutobi. I think the only time we saw Hiruzen Sarutobi and his gang close to their prime was during the sacrifice of Tobirama Senju. As we saw in the first Ninja World War, while being pursued by a team of 20 Komagakure ninja, Tobirama sacrificed his life to give the others a chance to escape. Before leaving, however, he appointed Hiruzen as the third Hokage. I'm sure if they got more screen time, we would be able to see the son of Hashirama Senju. But still, what happened to him? I think it's quite obvious that he didn't die in the First Shinobi World War, otherwise Nawaki Senju would not have been born. I think he didn't die in the Second Shinobi World War either, since we saw how traumatizing that war was for Tsunade. She lost her boyfriend, Dan, and her brother, Nawaki, in that war. And if her father died in the same war, I'm pretty sure we would see his death too in Tsunade's flashback. I think he died in the Third Great Ninja World War, or somewhere between that war and the beginning of Naruto's timeline. He was half Uzumaki and half Senju. Due to that, he had an extremely powerful life force that would definitely let him live during all these periods. However, despite his absence, his existence was mentioned several times in the series. Firstly, his birth was mentioned by Hiruzen Sarutobi when he was telling Minato and Kushina that when Mito was given birth, the seal nearly broke down. Which means that his birth was as difficult as Naruto's was. The second time he was inadvertently mentioned was during the final battle of Madara and Hashirama, when Hashirama told Madara that if anyone tried to disturb the harmony of the village, whether it would be his son, his family, or someone he considered a brother, he would not hesitate to eliminate them.
In the end, in Narutoverse, there were a lot of unnamed ninjas who had crazy potential, but unfortunately were never shown. However, there are still some hints that we can use to determine how strong they could be. Fortunately for us, thanks to the Jiraiya novel, which is 100% canon, we know much more about the parents of Jiraiya and Orochimaru, and I plan on doing a video about that topic too. I hope this video was informative. Make sure to check my other videos. Shinzumaki out. Peace.